Spells, I'm Brian.
And I'm Brad.
And Brad, what is the movie for today?
Today is the 2022 American comedy horror film, The Menu.
I guess I should have asked this beforehand, but is this a spoiler-free review, or are we just going straight into spoilers?
This movie, we can do like a 3-second spoiler-free, and then we'll just jump into spoilers. In case you haven't seen this movie is available on streaming services such as
HBO Max.
HBO Max, yeah.
I watched it a lot because whatever day this is publishing on, I'm trying for Monday the 30th of January. There's also going to be a YouTube video, a video essay about it. So check the Synergy link, remembering to say it at the beginning of the video. That was it.
Everybody loves Synergy. So this movie is on streaming. It is still in theaters if you wanted to see it on a big screen. I don't think this is a movie that necessarily you need to see on a big screen. I don't think this is a movie that you really need to see. It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to bury the lead here, but it's just not a action-packed, bunch of like cool effects kind of movie.
Yeah,
it is a very straightforward movie. It takes place in basically one location. One main stage, and then there's they did some shooting outside of that one area, but it mainly takes place in one place.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that you could probably watch. You could probably buy on Blu-ray. You'll probably never need a 4K version of this ever. But not to bear the lead, it is a very good movie. It is nominated for a bunch of awards at this point. I don't know if it's won too many of them yet, but it has definitely been nominated for quite a few awards. So.
Yeah, it is very visually beautiful, and I guess I can say this. If you've seen Tar, and like Tar is on one of those Olympic like the medalist stands, Tar is getting the gold. Menu is getting like the silver. Like this year. I feel like they're very close vibes. But offer different stories. So if you've seen Tar and loved it and want something that's like almost as satisfying, and this is a very satisfying movie. I don't want to insult this by saying you'll like it if you lower your expectations a little bit compared to but I saw both I think in the same week, and I was like, oh shit, this is a nice double feature.
Yeah. This movie I think was only about 90 minutes or so, give or take. Yeah. 106 minutes is what the Wikipedia says here. So it's a fairly short movie. I mean, it's not going to take you all day. This isn't Lawrence of Arabia, Ben-Hur type of movie. It is more of a quick sit down.
Or The Whale for Brad. Did it cut out?
You cut out. I just heard poor Brad at the end of that.
Okay. And it's not The Whale for Brad. And by that I mean a movie of similar length that you'll probably need to pause and walk away from and take a breath.
It based on the photos and the little bit of ads that I saw for it, I didn't expect it to be such a dark movie. I expected, some suspense, but not necessarily horror. So yeah, I would say overall it's a fairly good movie. Anything you want to say to it before we start to head towards spoiler section, spoiler land?
Let's just go into spoilers with this question. What trailers did you see? Because the one I saw showed like the men running. I think one person, maybe the guy getting his finger cut off. So there were elements that made it seem like a horror movie to me beforehand. But what kind of trailers did you see that gave off?
I don't remember seeing a trailer. I did see an ad for it that was like 5 seconds, and it was just kind of them. It was kind of like a pan through the kitchen. And then like the poster for it with Ray Fiennes and everybody standing kind of stacked Marvel style. But yeah, I didn't really see a super like a actual trailer for it.
Yeah,
I just saw like one of those like 5-second Facebook ads that real quick, just enough to pull your attention.
That sounds so silly, like a serious Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, it's kind of what it felt like. It kind of felt like a movie that like You know, I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of expecting something like serious, but like kind of a satire-ish based on like all the cooking shows is kind of what I expected, knowing that Ray Fiennes can be very, very serious and then very, very quirky in the same minute. Like in the movie reviewed, I was trying to buy myself some time to figure out what movie that was that we reviewed with Ray Fiennes and The Hotel.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The
Grand
Budapest Hotel.
Grand Budapest Hotel. Got it first try. Didn't even have to think about it. Yeah, so I was expecting something similar to like that kind of vibe where something happens, it's serious, but at the same time, like, whatever. And he just like,
it's quirky.
Yeah, quirky. Definitely quirky.
Wow.
So that's what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting like a actual murder plot and everything to go on. I wasn't expecting all that. But I started to feel it as I was watching the movie, that the tension was starting to rise.
Yeah.
Then you could feel that something just wasn't quite right with the whole situation. And our main character that we follow, she also kind of felt that too. And then we find out why she's kind of in the this isn't
mix.
right kind of, yeah. Margaret, which I think her real name was something else. We know her as Margaret through 90% of the movie.
Margot.
Yeah, but it was something.
Yeah,
it was her real name was something else.
Erin.
Yeah, so,
and she's from Massachusetts, I think.
Yeah, not Margaret or Margot from Arkansas or something like that. Nebraska, somewhere in the middle.
Something like that.
Sorry, people in the flyover states. It's not my fault. Your state is boring and flat.
Jesus Christ. I was like, well, I don't know how someone brain farting can hurt someone's feelings, and they're just like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's not my fault. My governor wants to ban schools from kids.
Is it the Florida thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 5 years, they won't be teaching classes. It'll just be a daycare.
I hope if anyone did have a reaction to that, it was like, what? I'm not insulted. Oh, wait, what the fuck you? Oh, you're in Florida? Ha ha! Yeah. Okay, never mind. A Florida man wants to insult yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I was expecting, more of that, not so much, the first big scene, I think was it the fingers first, or was it the guy that decided to unalive himself?
No, that was
like the first.
That was deep in. So the first scene is Margot smoking on the dock. But what do you mean by the big scene? Like the stuff that makes people
the first thing that really like turned this into a horror movie.
I think it started with the laser engraved tacos, the tortillas, and
with everybody's like secrets on it.
Yeah, and then the old guy said we're leaving, and then there was stuff like the chef was asking Margot why she wasn't eating, things like that, and him doing I think so. Oh, before that he started hinting about the tacos, like Lillian Bloom said to put him on the map, and he's like, what map might that be? And there are all these little uncomfortable breadcrumbs like, we gel. No.
and then the unison clap when everybody stands up straight. But I mean, I don't see that necessarily as scary. I mean, I guess you're right. The first thing is probably the uncomfortableness of the taco shells, with everybody's laser engraved like their secrets, and the bank reports for the one guy from their business that they're embezzling money. The one guy who's sleeping actually turns out to be Margot, who was actually at the dinner party. Yeah. The guy that gets his finger cut off.
And there was a little thing before that with the bros, as I like to call them, and Elsa, the second in command, where they're asking for bread, and she goes, "You will eat more than you desire and less than you deserve." Like that one. I guess it's not a moment, but you're right. I think the big moment is cutting off the ring finger when he leaves and says he'll handle it. And
that was the first one. That was what kind of put everybody on edge. But then, to have the guy unalive himself for the rest of the dish was just kind of what tipped me over from like, okay, this is like a serious thing to, oh no, this is something way weirder.
Yeah, and in between all of that, there was like the hunting with the 45-second head start, and I think
that was sous chef. That was after.
No, it wasn't. Sorry,
really?
I only say that because after, when he unalives himself, he's there with the men.
I thought that was like dish 2 or dish 3.
No, I was rewatching it last night or 2 nights ago before doing my script for the videos, and I stopped at an hour, and then last night I finished it. So I'm remembering that after the hour point. So like there's that, the ring cutting finger thing. Everyone freaks out. They think it's theater, maybe. Then sous chef Jeremy comes out. I know he shoots himself, and Tyler is just chomping at the meat or whatever, not paying attention. Or no, that was during the finger cutting that he wasn't paying attention. And then the men are told to run 45-second head start, and Tyler doesn't want to leave. And all the women are like, so we're really going to die? Like, fuck it. Give me more wine. And he's like looking in, and he's like, where's that bread? And he's eating the bread as Chef Slowick comes up and says, we have it. And then he makes him cook, and we don't see him again except for his feet hanging when Margot sees him to go get the barrel, and that's in like the last 30 minutes or something.
Yeah. Well, because she goes, gets the barrel, tries to call for help. The Coast Guard comes. It's actually a setup because he knew he would do that, or she would do that. So it was just a Coast Guard that had a gun, which was actually a lighter.
Yeah. Dude, that scene was wild. When he's like, I was totally, tell me if you were like this. When he starts pointing it at Margot, I was fully like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've never seen Twin Peaks, but I was like, this is getting weird. Like,
yeah, I was a little, it was weird. But at the same time, I was like, I know this isn't the end. This isn't how this movie ends. I was like, there's at least another twist. So I was expecting something, but I wasn't expecting, him to be in on the gag. I was expecting him to like get overrun. Yeah.
Especially by that guy, that waiter who walks off, the Asian gentleman. He looked like he was hunting, like kind of how he was holding.
Yeah,
so I was totally expecting him to come around and be like,
yeah, because they had guards by each one of the doors, so I was expecting some of them come around or something. But yeah, I wasn't expecting the lighter, and then for him just to walk off and be like, okay, cool.
That was smart because it was such a short amount of time. Like at least for me, I didn't have time to be like to figure out what the reveal was going to be with the guard.
Yeah, but so everybody has in this movie. Everybody has their own secrets. I think the guy's secret, the least bad one, is the guy that was pretending to be a food critic or pretending to be a chef. The guy that brings Margot. I think he wasn't bad. He wasn't. Oh, that's not that bad. I mean, you're on the internet pretending to be a chef, and you were able to Google some chef terms and some. I mean, like, but everybody else, like the one guys were embezzling money. Well, the movie star.
There's also the secret that he brought Margot to die.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of Chef Slowick wanting to kill him, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
I'll stop interrupting.
No, you're good. Yeah. So outside of that, I guess I forgot about that part of it. But like the whole reason the chef brought specifically him was so that way because he was pretending to be a chef online.
He was like I don't know if he was presenting himself as a chef, but he kept he was like those TV shows which reveal the magician's trick, I guess. Okay. This is how you do it. This is how you can cut the woman in half. Yeah.
But with
how you
food.
can cut the chef in half.
Yeah. So his crime to originally be there isn't that bad. I mean, you got the movie star who's like sleeping with his assistant, and there was something else between those two that was, I think, money related.
At the end, before they're all about to die, she admits that she was stealing money from him, and he knows that. But she was leaving him to become a producer, a movie or show producer. She literally doesn't even know what she's going to be producing.
Yeah, but she's stealing money from him. He's sleeping with her too, and he was going to fire her or something like that, or she was going to quit. That's what it was.
Yeah,
he was going to fire her.
She was
the regulars, and they don't really have a real reason to be there. Outside of he's cheating on her with Margot, with random sex workers, I guess is the politically correct word to say that.
Yeah, that one's interesting because the reason they're there is because, as far as Chef Slowick says in his speech, is because they don't actually appreciate what they're eating. They're just consuming it to consume it, and because it's expensive and blah blah blah, and they're kind of like, it's not special to them. They're not appreciating the privilege they have. But then, yeah, pairing that with you're cheating on your wife seems interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let's see, the three bros were all embezzling money from their company. The one was a food critic that brought him up, but then there's something else with her too.
Oh, wait, Lillian Bloom, she's with her editor Ted, and she wields her power irresponsibly, and kind of one of the things that I was picking at or noticing most was the fact that she's writing her review almost before the experience has even started. Well, she's writing her review in terms of describing the island, but when she gets like a first dish, she already starts saying like the plating is needy and blah blah. It's like, sure, write some fucking notes about the plating, but eat the food. Stop making your review, before you've even eaten the food. And I saw the issue between them as like the person who's wielding their power irresponsibly, and then the fan base or the people that enable them and kind of prop them up. So her tortillas are all the restaurants that she closed with her reviews.
Her mighty pen.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking a lot of Chef while watching this and doing like the video for it, because Chef had kind of that. I think the Chef and the menu would be an interesting double feature where they're both have similarities, but they are the energy is very different. One is positive and one is not. I don't know if nihilistic is the correct word, but it's definitely like, no, not happy.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the Chef.
Oh,
so okay. So the lady that plays Lillian, her name is Janet McTeer, and she has an OBE, which is the Order of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire.
Is this
she's
real
got like
life stuff?
Yes. So it's I think it's like one step below being knighted, I think is kind of how it goes. Because a lot of people get awarded them, or a lot of people that are excellent in their craft get awarded them. I know that there are different soccer players or football stars that have OBEs. But I hope you like her acting, because she will be in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Hell yeah! I mean, yeah, anyone who's getting in there is going to be great. I mean, you already got Haley Atwell and Pom Klementieff, Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yep, so she will be in that movie as well.
And then we also have John Leguizamo. His name is George Diaz or something in the movie, but he's literally credited as movie star on IMDb.
Yeah, he is too on Wikipedia.
Well, first, I want to shout out Hong Chow, who plays Elsa, the number 2, because she's also in The Whale, and she's also in the second episode of Poker Face from Ryan Johnson. She's just fucking amazing. Check out everything with her. I need to.
Yeah, she's also in The Watchmen, BoJack Horseman. Looks like an episode of CSI. Episode of NCIS.
Saving the
How I
best
Met
for
Your
last.
Mother.
Oh shit! Wait,
How I
what?
Met Your Mother.
What?
She was in Perfect Week in the episode of How I Met Your Mother. She was Cook Poe.
Oh, okay. Perfect Week. I know the plot of Perfect Week. Oh no! I think you're being. I think you were giving How I Met Your Mother more credit than it deserves with that pronunciation, good sir. Because I'm seeing on IMDb that it looks like Cook Poo. P-U.
Oh, see, I thought P-U. I thought yeah, okay. So maybe.
I haven't seen the pictures of her, but I'm knowing How I Met Your Mother. I've watched it like 7 times all the way through. I'm pretty sure it's got to be Cook Poo. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, she was also my God. I just saw the screenshot of her, and yeah, her name's Cook Poo. She's not a chef; she's a student. And wow, I haven't watched How I Met Your Mother in years, especially this episode. Ted is a substitute teacher or starting a new class, and he's taking roll call, and he says, "Cook Poo, really?" Cook Poo, you couldn't say bend over, or was bend over taken? And he shames her out of the class. And I think there's 3 times, but the second time he does it, they're at the bar, and the chef or the bartender's like, order for Cook Poo. Cook Poo. Oh yeah, very funny. You getting me here? I know Cook Poo is a dumb name, and she's there again. But holy shit! Yeah, that's great.
Yep. She's also in Downsizing too, so there you go.
I heard that wasn't a great film, so
it wasn't bad.
Okay.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, I don't recommend it, but it wasn't terrible if you like the idea of shrinking down everything so your impacts on this planet and is less, and yeah, it's not terrible.
Got you.
Matt Damon.
Okay, but John Leguizamo's character was really interesting to me because, all right, so the basis of the video I'm doing is seeing how this can all be a metaphor for the film industry, since Chef did that, another film with John Leguizamo. But the one thing I didn't have to change, like I didn't have to read into or make a metaphor, was John Leguizamo's character, because both of them are exactly the same. It's essentially... And maybe unintentionally, but it's also criticizing John Leguizamo's career. And by that, he's in a movie called Playing with Fire that I saw with my daughter in 2019 in theaters. Kids movie. I knew it was going to be bad. It was John Cena before he joined F9 and Peacemaker, or the Suicide Squad. So it was that bad kids movie for wrestlers before being successful. Like that's what I was ready for. I was like, all right, let's get a Tooth Fairy, let's get a pacifier with Vin Diesel, something like that. I've seen the Tooth Fairy, is fine. Playing with Fire has John Leguizamo, Keegan-Michael Key, Negasonic Teenage Warhead from Deadpool, the Allstate gentleman who was also in 24 as the president, Judy Greer, who I think was nominated for an Oscar for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. She was one of the apes. Like she's also been in the Ant-Man movie. She's a very talented actress. Anyway, I left that movie feeling insulted for them. Because they were all so fucking good and the script was so fucking garbage that I was like, I hope they all got a big check and had a fun shoot, because that was horrible. Like John Leguizamo, especially with like Moulin Rouge, Romeo plus Juliet, Chef. I was just like, oh my God, the jokes he was made to do felt so cringy. So I have actually left feeling bad for them. And I think if I had been looking forward to that movie, I would have left like Chef Slowick. Like, oh, really? Y'all bamboozled me with all these stars that I love, and I wanted to enjoy this movie, and this is a total waste of time.
So I just Googled real quick because we haven't talked about Ray Fiennes yet, who is the main person in the movie, the main draw. Yeah, who's never been in any movie you've ever heard of. He's never been in that movie.
He's got a promising career.
Yeah, but he does not have an OBE, which I thought was kind of get dunked on.
Yeah, you have a problem. No.
So he's never been in a movie that you've never heard of. Never been on a movie that we've done on this podcast. Never been in a movie series that may have been super popular through the mid 2000s up until like
Shrek.
Yes. In fact, I think he was in Shrek. Actually, hold on. He may not be in a movie series that we do another podcast together with. He definitely is not in any movie you've never heard of. So don't look for him. He's not famous.
Oh, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Fiennes. I don't know why everybody keeps saying Ray Fiennes. I don't know who that guy is, but Ralph Fiennes. I know that guy.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes is with the IRS.
Yes. That's what happens when you don't file your taxes.
Ray fines you for being late.
Oh. I don't know how this guy doesn't have an OBE yet, but okay, sure.
I legitimately, if you had just said OBE and like start guessing, I was like, well, I'm starting with OBGYN. I don't know. I didn't know what that was.
Oh, but yeah, I didn't expect the end of this movie when she goes through his office and kind of realizes how he started and how what's her name Lillian helped him, and you know what his passion was before cooking or what got him really into cooking. I wasn't expecting that to, you know, decide to let her go. I wasn't expecting that towards the end of the movie. I was expecting, like her, that she was going to get tackled from behind or whatever. Yeah, I just wasn't expecting her to get let go and be the only survivor of this. But I also wasn't expecting everybody just to sit there through the s'mores and just take their crimes and take their punishment for the crimes. So
I don't know that I was expecting any of that, but did it feel inauthentic when it happened for you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think everybody understood why they were there after he goes through his speech and admits that they were doing wrong, and that most of them, you know, the older couple, so a lot of them I can understand why they, you know, just accept it.
Yeah.
And not try and escape or not even try and leave their table. They just become part of the human s'mores. Which I thought was hilarious. Did you, in all the titles of the food, they have like, some of them have like little tidbits and stuff like that in there.
Yeah.
The human s'mores, which I thought was pretty funny. It felt very like Grand Budapest Hotel, quirky.
I think it had the regular ingredients on top of that. Oh, sorry. It said something like customer's staff restaurant.
Yeah. And then one of them was like sous chef whatever brains, and yeah.
I didn't,
because didn't they?
I need to go back on that one, but I remember that one had a fade in that said rest in peace sous chef Jeremy, or RIP sous chef Jeremy.
Yep. But the little things had little quirks to them, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I was expecting, you know, her to be a part of the last dish also. I didn't expect everybody to die at the end of the movie, but I knew that they weren't getting out from where they were. unscathed. I just didn't think they were all going to be human s'mores.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Piggybacking off your comments about the menu items, it is co-written by 2 former writers of The Onion, so that might explain more of its quirky attitude, or not quirky, but off-center.
Yeah. So The Onion, for anybody that doesn't know, is a satire fake news organization that just
intentionally. Yes, before fake news was a term.
but so because of everything, they've had to get more and more bizarre, and not because some topics they do seem semi-realistic and people don't get that at first. So as you read the article, it gets more and more bizarre at the end of it. And some of their headlines are really off the wall type of things. Man rides camel through Antarctica, surviving off of 1 Tostitos or something like that. Like it gets off the wall quick. So yeah, tactical assault camels and stuff like that. So I don't know, just off the wall stuff. But yeah, I would say that this movie is satire to some degree towards like the Food Network and cooking shows and how serious they've gotten, and how like the popularity of Gordon Ramsay and everything like that.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting how, there's the what is it? It's a self-destructive cycle. We talk about like one person, but really it was just outlining how this whole industry, whether it's the film industry or the food industry, is kind of this more dynamic self-destructive cycle. Like everyone's destructing each. I'm actually going to write that down because I needed that. My best one was multi-self-destructive reality, and that was bad. But dynamic self-destructive or whatever. But like really, in terms of the criticism affecting the food more than the merits of the food, I saw Margot as like the general audience for movies. So in terms of food, it's just a regular fucking person. It actually made me think a lot of Pig, that scene where Nick Cage was talking to that restaurant, or that fancy restaurant guy, like, don't you miss when it mattered to you, that kind of thing. I'm gonna write down Pig as well because I forgot.
I forgot about Pig too. I forgot that we did that. We watched that movie because that movie is very similar in tone, or very similar in ideas to this movie. There's a lot of similarities between the 2 movies now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. Obviously, one's a horror movie and one's not necessarily a horror movie. But yeah, it has a very similar tones of being in the industry, quotes, being in the industry, unquote. And, just, like you said, how destructive it can be. And, yeah, that's very interesting that you brought up that topic too, because I forgot about Pig, and that has a lot of similarities. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would recommend watching The Pig too. If you like this movie, I'd recommend watching The Pig. And then what did you say the other one was? The Chef?
Yeah, Pig is on Hulu. Chef I've owned for so long I don't know where it might be, but I know The Chef Show, which is a nonfiction cooking show, is on Netflix. So I don't know. Check out that. But yeah, have you seen Chef as well?
No. Nope.
I think that would make a interesting trifecta, because Chef would be like the optimistic version of the menu, and then the menu is the cynical, and then like Pig is like off-brand or like niche. Or
it's I wouldn't say it's like centrical. It's not the center of it, but it's like off-brand. It's like Mr. Pibb versus Dr. Pepper, or
yeah.
It's like the Walmart brand.
Yeah, Great Savings or whatever it's called.
The nice brand from Walgreens.
God, I don't know why, for some reason, Walgreens and Nice just don't fit together in my brain. Even though I've never heard anything Amazon-esque about Walgreens.
Yeah, just their abnormally long receipts that they give you that are like, you fold 5 times and you're still only halfway.
Or what was the bigger one? CVS had even longer receipts, right?
Yeah,
Someone went
it's the
as Halloween.
same thing. It's the exact same store.
And let's see. There's also, who was the guy? The angel, angel technique, or not technique, but protocol.
Are you talking about the guy that
Owned the whole place.
yes, and that he sacrificed basically into the water? I think that might have been actually the first like weird thing. I think that's what prompted what's his name to get up and leave. The old man. Or because was that before the tacos or after the tacos?
That
Because
had,
I think he made it. I think he made it through the tacos, like to the end of the taco, and because I think he ate the picture with him and Margot.
let me see, because the guys were all talking about how to get out of there, and John Leguizamo actually talked to them and was like, "This worked in a movie I did called probably a shitty title," and the guy Soren Arturo Castro, the gentleman who Elsa whispered in his ear, takes his chair and tries to smash. This script was hard for me. I had to watch the movie like 8 times, so it's seared into my brain. He tries hitting the glass and it doesn't break, and then the angel yeah, I think that's it. I don't know, it might be out of order, but I think the finger was already cut off at that point. You'll just have to watch it again.
Yeah, I might have to. I mean, if I would have wrote down, had I thought about this, had I wrote down the meals, I probably could figure it out based on the meals. But yeah, I didn't get that far because I suck at this.
Oh no, I was talking about audience, but anyone listening to this, it's just an excuse to rewatch it again.
Yeah, I mean, rewatchability. I would say that this just will be a movie that you will want to rewatch at least a second time to catch everything, because I've only watched it once and there's a lot of things I know that I missed, especially background and like quick things that go by. So I will definitely rewatch it again. I don't know if this is a movie that I'll watch like yearly, like say Halloween time or something like that, but this is definitely a movie I will watch at least a second time, maybe a third time down the road, but I don't think this will be one of those staples in a movie collection.
Here's one thing I didn't notice until multiple viewings, so anyone who rewatches it can see or catch it. When Chef Slowick is shaming Elsa for not getting the barrel, and he sends Margot, and then Margot goes into his house and stuff, and Elsa tries to kill her, and she kills Elsa. Elsa reveals right before she's killed that Chef Slowick never told her about the barrel. He made it all up just to shame her in front of Elsa and essentially start replacing her with Margot. So it wasn't... Which is so interesting to me. On his last day on Earth, for all of them, as far as he knows, he's like, I'm gonna abuse my power again and just start fucking with people. Just do some little chess with them.
Yeah, after she kind of, I don't want to say get repentance or whatever, but after she stabbed him in the upper leg area.
Are you talking about who was that, Catherine?
Oh, was that Catherine? I thought that was her that he was hitting on and made sexual advances towards.
Catherine was the white woman who was, sexually abused by or harassed by him, and then Elsa was Cook Poo from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, well, I thought Elsa stabbed him at that little ceremony in the upper thigh area.
Elsa was watching when they hugged. Catherine, the white woman, was the one who stabbed him and then wiped. And she also had the idea of everyone dying.
Yes, which, yeah, that's quite the idea. So it's super weird to shame her at that moment, unless, he was expecting her just to run from there and try and swim away versus calling Coast Guard to save everybody. Maybe he was expecting her to just save herself at that moment.
Honestly, I think he's just kind of ignorant to his hypocrisy, like most people. Like he's playing himself as victim, and you can see how the people he wants to help frame as victim. I mean, he is a victim. Everyone here is a victim in some sense, at some angle, and everyone is a perpetrator or the abuser at some angle, and that's what's really fascinating to me. So like he literally performs his apology for everybody because part of the menu, it's a performance, and then goes around afterwards and then starts abusing someone else, almost, I think maybe unintentionally or just habitually. Like, all right, I'm getting enamored isn't the right word, but I'm like paying more attention to Margaret. She's fascinating. She is capturing my attention. So I think unconsciously he really was preparing himself mentally for, she'll be my new number 2 because she's bringing something fresh and shaking things up for me, even though everyone's supposed to die at the end. So I think he's so acutely aware of how he's been a victim, but not very aware of how he's victimized everyone, including like sous chef Jeremy. I'm sure he probably could have framed that as a way of, I'm being merciful to sous chef Jeremy, giving him an out, giving him power when he's had none. This will be the end. At least it'll be a part of my menu. Now Jeremy is immortalized, which he wouldn't have been before, and he saw it as something good that he could do when really is. Yeah,
because Jeremy wasn't good enough to pass him. He wanted to pass him. He was his he was his sous chef, the number 2 chef in the kitchen, but it wasn't good enough to pass him in skill and technique. Yeah. So he's being merciful for letting him end his own life.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's had so much conversation, even if I feel the same as you, that this isn't a movie that's going to be as remembered. It just, I don't know, something about it. When you see Tar, maybe we can unpack that. Tar feels like something that...
Spoiler to everybody for the following week, that Tar will be in the next week or 2.
Yep. Which was really funny because I noticed we mentioned it early on. I was like, I'm gonna leave this here as a little Easter egg. Tar is on Peacock if anyone wants to watch it, or use the affiliate link in the description. But I think that's why it's given so much opportunity to be talked about, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely different. It's got a different feel to it. It is fresh in the sense of you don't see movies like this very often, and if you do, it's typically not a big movie. Typically, it's a movie that may have 1 star. It's kind of like a passion project, and if you don't really follow that star, you probably will never end up seeing those movies. So, seeing this movie get the attention that it did, and really bring it to the forefront, it really feels fresh to a lot of people, and it felt fresh to me. Versus more of a niche movie. I think this will go down as a niche movie in 2-3 years. I think people won't really remember this movie, but I think I think it'll be a movie that will live on, just not as a cult classic kind of thing. There are going to be some people that really love this movie that are going to watch it once or twice a year, and it will be in their steady rotation of movie watching. But I think a lot of people are going to watch this movie once, maybe twice, and think good memories of it, but never pick it up again.
Since I feel like we're winding down, I want to highlight one of my favorite moments on rewatches, which is during the Angel protocol or whatever it was, or before that actually happened. One of the bros, Bryce, the Asian bro, is like yelling at Chef Slowick. He's like, he kept you open through COVID, and Chef Slowick responds, yeah, and he always asked for substitutions, even though Hawthorne doesn't do substitutions. It wasn't that moment actually that was my favorite. It was the fact that Bryce is yelling that he kept you out of open during COVID, as if that's a good thing because he's a money guy. And Chef Slowick clumps that in with his criticism of asking for substitution. Chef Slowick, without laying it out, responds, "Yeah, he kept me open during COVID. That was bad. That was stupid. It was for money and not for the art." And it put people like, that's what I read into it, since he piggybacked off that. And I was like, that is, if you're going to include COVID anywhere in the movie, like, that's so perfect to have the two lines be diametrically opposed. Like, you're saying the same thing and mean two very different things.
And it's funny because we can connect that with the end of the movie when she asks for something that's not on the menu, a cheeseburger and French fries, to get her out of the situation. She's asking for something that's not on the menu. She's asking for a substitution, even though Hawthorne doesn't do substitutions. But that's what ultimately what saves her, is driving the memory back into him of where he started as just like a McDonald's chef or whatever it was, a little mom and pop hamburger place.
Yeah, I guess we can...
Being employee of the month.
I guess if Chef Slowick wants to be really anal about it, we can say there's the loophole that it wasn't a substitution, it was an addition. But she still skipped out of the last meal. Like, oh God, do I have to watch this movie again and see if she ate anything?
She ate the part of the first one, but foam? She didn't eat the second one, the 3 little drops. She didn't eat that. She passed on that. I thought that was going to be like her. When I was watching the movie, I thought that was going to be like her. Yeah, I thought that was going to be her saving grace, is that he poisoned something and she just didn't eat it. So I thought that was going to be her. That was going to be an out that they were going to have to deal with later. But yeah, that didn't end up being that way. But yeah, she passed on a couple things.
Yeah, she passes.
She didn't pass on the wine.
No, she passes on the tacos because she goes to the bathroom, and then.
Well, and she doesn't, and that's when he kind of cornered her when she was smoking in the bathroom.
Yeah,
because she wasn't supposed to be there, so he doesn't have anything to laser engrave for her. He could, if he wanted to, he could have just laser engraved the same thing he laser engraved the old guy. It was like, I know what you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's not supposed to be there, so.
Yeah, they don't have advanced time. I guess they knew that Tyler was going to be a little shit. And then after then there's the mess with sous chef Jeremy's blowing out his brains, so Margot's not going to eat that. And then I think they do the manhunt, which ironically, Tyler kept wanting an extra something special. If he had actually played the game and won that game, he would have got something special.
Yeah.
But he was just being a simp for the food and like grabbing the bread scraps and shit. She probably drinks wine there. I think she tries the foam or whatever that was.
And I think is that when she decides the foam is when she decides to make the burger, or because then. No, during that... She has to get the barrel first.
Yeah, during the foam, that's when she admits that her name's Erin. She admits to Anne that she knows Richard, the old guy, her husband. And maybe she has some bread. But what was the last... Yeah, I think that was it. Before
and she goes and gets the barrel. Well, and no, because she goes against the barrel while they're eating something else, right? And then the barrel, because the barrel was for something.
They may not have been serving a course during that. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, because I think it was five courses?
Probably. Oh, there were also, there was an amuse-bouche, which I forget what that was. That might have been the first thing that she tried. And then there was a palate cleanser somewhere in there. Oh, tea. Bergamot.
Yeah. I mean, I might have to sit down and watch this movie again just for the food. I mean, just for the ordering of everything.
I'll throw one.
I mean, I was just say I have no interest in doing anything like that. Like super artsy fartsy food like that, because I'm a bigger guy. I'd rather eat my food than look at how it's presented and drink 3 little drops of whatever it was. I'd rather have that cheeseburger.
Yeah, I've done that once as a kid with Charlie Trotters. Like I must have been 12 or 13 or something. My parents dropped a lot of money on it was a few $100s a person. I don't remember the food, but I remember the experience, like the how the wait staff wouldn't even let me. I was going to the bathroom and like female wait staff was like letting me go first. I was like, no, I'm supposed to let you go first because I'm a gentleman. She like literally would not, and I was like, oh, we're at that level. I'm not allowed. Or I'm not. Yeah, my parents are middle class. I've lived probably cumulatively 5 years in my own car, so please don't think I'm suspicious. But what is it? Yeah, I'm gonna throw out one more food thing. I don't think it actually would work as like a double feature, triple feature, but Waitress, great movie, gonna make you hungry just like this one, or more accurately, Chef, because Chef does cubanos and tacos and actual just they give you bread.
Yeah, this movie just makes me hungry for a big juicy smash burger.
So, I want a beast burger.
They have those here. I have access to such things.
Yes, ghost kitchens.
Yep, that's a smart idea. Really smart idea.
Just
ghost kitchens in general.
You just reminded me on that trip that I might need to take because it got canceled. I could go to the actual first physical beast burger if I don't go to New York. But yeah, did you want to go into box office? It might be undercut by the fact that it's already on HBO Max.
Sure. Do you know what the budget for this was? I mean, I have the numbers. I'm just asking you the question.
I don't know. I would have guessed 90 million, but that's ridiculous. 40 million can be movies with like more locations, less set, but I don't know. It really could be a huge range, but thinking about how the industry would not greenlight a $90 million movie, I'm going to go 20 million as a budget.
You're not that far off. I mean, it was 30 million. Okay. So you're not that far off. I mean, it is one big set and, the big kitchen, the all stainless steel, they probably had to rent.
Yeah,
probably
green
rented
screen.
It really nice. Yeah. So the box office, it's still in theaters right now, but it is being undercut by HBO Max. What do you think this movie has gotten a lot of national attention. It is on the list for a lot of awards that we didn't talk about, but I mean, he was nominated for the Golden Globes, Ralph Fiennes, for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical, and she was nominated for Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical. There's still a lot of awards pending. They haven't won anything. They've won one thing at Fantastic Fest, which was the Audience Award. They've been runner-up in the Georgia Film Critics Association, but they haven't won anything. But they've been nominated for a lot of things. So just keep that in mind as you're coming up with your number.
I'm gonna give you two numbers. I'm not looking up the actual box office. I'm looking up Puss in Boots' box office. But the first one I'm gonna say 30 million.
So you're gonna say they basically broke even to the budget.
I mean, I guess technically they lost money because you have to do like double with all the advertising, but let's see. I just want to see what kind of box office allowed. Damn, what the fuck? All right, I was going to say what kind of box office would allow Puss in Boots to go premium video on demand early. And it's $555 million, which is not what I was expecting. It made 179 million or 132 million in the United States. So I guess that's a I would imagine number this movie on a DreamWorks.
I would imagine that this movie hasn't been pushed much outside of the United States. So you're not going to get a whole lot of numbers from, say, Asia. You might get some from Europe, but not much. I would say this is primarily a United States movie.
I'm gonna. I feel like I should stick with 30 million, but I'm just gonna go and swing for 45 million. In the post, looking up Puss in Boots numbers.
Okay. It is just short of 80 million. It is 78.9 as of the Wikipedia article.
All right. All the Tylers of the film world will be happy, because I did not expect this movie to attract that kind of box office, especially with it still in HBO Max. I mean, did Wonder Woman 1984 get any kind of box office like it? Worldwide, Wonder Woman 1984 got 169.6 million, and that was wow.
Oh, okay. So I found some more box office numbers off of boxofficemojo.com. All releases for this movie, 78.8 million, 38.4 million domestic, and 40 million international. So almost 50-50.
Yeah. That's shocking to me. I mean, Wonder Woman 1985. All right, there's some things different. Obviously, we're further along in the pandemic, hopefully having more safety measures, less infections and stuff. So or even if not, probably there's just less fear because we've been living in it longer. But the fact is, this is how would you advertise this movie after seeing it? It's not just a horror comedy. It's not just a horror satire. It's heady topics and
it's kind of, I don't want to say innuendos. I'm trying to think of the word here, where
nuanced.
Like it nuanced. Yeah. Where they're talking about food, but it could very easily be spun to something else. Like the movie industry you could tie what they're doing to the movie industry kind of thing. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a really hard movie to define. So when they define it as, I think, what did I say? It was a black comedy horror movie, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And I mean, no offense to Ralph Fiennes, but is Ralph Fiennes a box office draw on his own? He was the head of The Kingsman, and that movie was horribly advertised and delayed to death, but that didn't do well. Anya Taylor-Joy has not been in the Furiosa prequel yet, so her biggest thing is like a Queen's Gambit, right? Because she was in New Mutants, but that bombed. Nicholas Hoult was in the X-Men movies, but really, come on, those are not. those are dead by now. I mean, everyone else. I don't see anyone who would be, and no offense to Hong Chow or John Leguizamo or any of these other stars.
She was also in the Northman. That didn't bomb.
What's the Northman? Who was in the Northman? Hong Chow?
No, was Taylor-Joy.
Okay, but the Northman, I've heard so many people, like one person who watched it with friends like 5 minutes in, or afterwards was like, I am so sorry. Like it's a brutal movie. She was last night in Soho, so she's been in some relatively bigger name things as of recently. I'm only saying for the Northman, I still haven't seen it, but every review I've seen says this was marketed very dishonestly. So the Northman making a lot of money before people realized it was whatever it is. That could be to blame.
Yeah. Action thriller, very gory, very action eccentric. I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I can understand why people don't, though.
And Last Night in Soho, I liked it, but also we don't talk about. It just doesn't have the buzz that another Edgar Wright film like Baby Driver or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World even had, like later on had. So, like, no offense to Anya Taylor-Joy, she's a mega talent. That's what I'm saying. All these people are mega talents first, movie stars second. So, you know, if there is an order to that, and How the fuck does it make it? That's brilliant. That's great. Wait, how much was the budget though? You said
30.
So $30 million budget. Shit.
We're closing in on. I guess it would be double and a half already. So doubled and a quarter, or double and a half.
Or
so
four times. Or no, sorry, never mind.
Yeah.
I was remembering. No, you said 30. I was like, what was my guess? Because I thought my guess was that no, it was 20. So I had 20 million in my head. Yeah, so it's already profitable and it's on HBO Max at the same time. That is, wow, cool.
Which would, on a budget of $30 million, and again, we don't know because we don't know the contracts, but I would assume that everybody got paid outright for this movie. Nobody took points in this movie. Which is probably budget, why. Which is probably why after they were profited, that's probably when they flipped the switch and put it on HBO.
See, I would bet I'm going to look up the menu box office to see when it's getting it. I would think that they wouldn't put it on HBO Max if it was making a lot of money week to week. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure if it was making buku bucks, they're not gonna cut themselves to put it on HBO Max. But I think it wasn't surging. So since it didn't surge, then as soon as they made profit, they probably flipped it to make sure people could see it versus just letting it die in theaters.
Yeah, it says that it opened,
and taking the buzz.
It says it opened on the weekend with 9 million. So going November 20th. 9 million the first week. It was up to 18 million the week after. And then it only increased another 5 million. Yeah, so it's had like a slow. I think them dropping on HBO Max was the thing that helped it because, again, it made 4 million one more week, and then less than 2 million, and we're at 31 million by December 7th or December 18th. We're at 32 million, and now, oh wait, this is all domestic. Never mind.
Yeah, because it made 38 domestic. So I mean, there's still 6 million from then to now in a month and a half.
Yeah, let me all territories. If it would be great if this was a graph. No, it doesn't have dates for the other markets. It just says opening and then gross. But certain things like Argentina started with a $96,000 opening, and now it's at almost $500,000 gross, and that's 2.5 months. So no matter what, that had to be an upward trajectory. The UK opening was 1.1 million. Now it's at 4.9, less of the. So I think, I'm sure someone smarter than me, like someone on a film theory team, could figure out the correlation between when it dropped on HBO Max and when.
Yeah.
Especially in the US, because people can have AMC A-list but not have HBO Max. So HBO Max viewers start talking about it and like, well, I don't want to buy another subscription. I'll use my theater subscription.
Yeah, and I would say that if this movie was super popular, like right now, if the budget or if the box office was 150, I don't think it'd be on HBO Max right now. Yeah. But I think that it wasn't a fast trajectory, so they used the time that that people are talking about it because it's award season and it's nominated for a bunch of awards, that they were like, all right, we made profit. Let's put on HBO Max and keep this buzz going.
Yeah, and also since the pandemic, there's all these new contracts that are like, if it doesn't make this much in theaters, then we're allowed to release it early, and if it does make this much in theaters, then we can't. That's definitely what happened with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I don't know if it's the menu because streaming contracts can be different. But
yeah, and I would assume everybody got paid outright. So as soon as they made money, that's when they made the decision. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I would say that this movie is an edibly joint. I would say this movie fires on all cylinders, but again, it's the rewatchability for me, I think, is a major downfall. I don't think this is. I'll watch this again for sure. Maybe 3 times the next year and a half. But I think it'll pretty much that'll pretty much be the end of my menu career. So the rewatchability kind of brings it down for me.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna stick with edible just because there's not a weakness I can point to.
The movie itself is great. There's no weakness in the movie itself. I just don't see myself rewatching it a bunch of times.
Yeah. All right. And tar would be a mushroom for me, so that seems appropriate. A spoiler for my review, my rating, but yeah, this felt in every way like it would be some niche thing, which is why I was surprised when seeing that there was so much demand for it before. But yeah, this is great. The Tylers of the world will be overjoyed that this movie made so much. They're like, yeah, success. Good movies. Watch it in IMAX, in Dolby and IMAX, even though those two things don't happen together.
Yeah, they don't, because they're two different companies.
What's the outro?
This movie may have been an edibly joint.
This movie may have been an edible.
But either way, movies are dope because... this movie is dope because movies
are
dope.
Affiliate link in the description. YouTube video essay in the description. Check out Tar on Peacock or affiliate link as well. And we'll see you in the next one.
Patreon. Yep, and link to Patreon and Discord at the bottom also.